first guest has starred in such popular shows as Queen Sugar and Scandal, and she is now reprising her role as lovable landlady Mrs. Henley in Cherished Memories, A Gift to Remember Too, premiering this Sunday night right here on Hallmark Channel. Please welcome back our friend Tina Lifford. Welcome back, Tina.
It's so nice to be here.
We're so excited to have you. You look absolutely stunning.
Yes. Well, I thank you for that, and so do you. And isn't it wonderful that we can say that to one another?
I know, and celebrate each other.
Yes.
I totally agree.
Yes.
Tina. Now, the lovable Mrs. Henley, landlady Mrs. Henley. Now, this is something that you have had some experience with in your real life. Isn't that right?
You know, I actually became a landlady at the age of 24 because I knew I didn't want to be a starving artist, right? And so I actually bought a little house that was in probate. And I was able to get this house for about, I think it was $18,000.
It wasn't in LA.
It was in LA.
Oh my goodness.
Out of probate. I couldn't afford to live in it, but I rented it out. I went in, I fixed it all up. I rented it out for 3 years. And when I sold that place, I was able to buy my own duplex,
Yes, you were.
right?
Yes,
and
you
then
were.
still be a landlady, and then leverage that duplex into another duplex in the same neighborhood, and I just kept doing that.
Well, what a great business mind you had to do that, because most girls would go out and be waitresses.
I didn't want to sit by the phone waiting for someone to call me.
Yeah.
You know, because if they didn't call, then what does that say about me?
Yeah,
right?
your whole future would rely on what someone else thought of you. And
relying on something that is external. And that.
Well, you know, we first met Mrs. Henley, your character, way back in 2017.
Yes.
But now you're back, and it must be so fun to be seeing your co-stars again, Peter Forte and all the others. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, it is, it's wonderful. It's like going to camp.
Yeah.
You know?
We get it.
Yeah,
around
it's
here.
exactly. It's like all your favorite people, and you haven't spoken to them in a while, so you've got to catch up, right? You got to eat with them, right? And you have to just experience what it feels like to work in an environment that feels like family and home.
And you're now all back together again for this sequel. Tell us where Aiden and Darcy are in their relationship, and what's new with Mrs. Henley?
So we pick up with them definitely together as a partnership, but they're not married. They're living in separate apartments in Mrs. Henley's
building.
Yes, Mrs. Henley's building. And this time, the challenge is that Mrs. Henley's nephew comes, and he is a young boy who is separated from his parents because both of his parents are serving in the army overseas. Yes, in the military overseas, and he comes with a sourpuss kind of attitude and face, and she was expecting the little boy who thought that she was wonderful, right? And the entire episode starts to be about what does it look like for family that's not family to be made and created and support one another.
And we have a clip of the movie where Mrs. Henley is sort of reminiscing with Darcy about her late husband's love of Christmas. Take a look.
You know, my husband, Gerald, oh, he loved Christmas. The year I lost him, I didn't even put up a tree. Can you imagine me without a Christmas tree?
When did things change?
Oh, it was the first Christmas. I'm sitting there in the apartment without a twinkling light in sight, and I realized how sad Gerald would be if he saw that. You know, the best way to honor him and the life we had was to bring beauty and happiness out into the world. And so I dragged out all of my decorations, got a carload of new ones, and set out to generate more joy.
Well, you do that so beautifully.
Well, thank you.
I love these movies.
Aren't they wonderful?
I just love you as Mrs. Henley.
Oh,
Really wonderful.
You know, she's just so warm, right?
Yeah.
It's
she
like
is.
a good cup of a hot chocolate.
I know.
And you know,
Nice
you, I read, were raised in Evanston,
I was.
Illinois, Chicago.
Yes.
I'm from Detroit, so
Okay.
we're neighbors. And it sounds like such a charming town. Tell us about that and why you recently went back this summer for a very special reason.
Yeah. So I grew up in a small town, Evanston, Illinois, where everyone knew one another. Literally, you walk down the street, everyone was your parents.
So nice.
Yeah.
There was no way that you were going to misbehave
Right.
and not have the
Nice.
discipline of the community, you know, to support you,
Yeah.
right? And we would literally go to bed at night with our doors unlocked. That's the town that I grew up in. And they reached out to me and said that they wanted to name a street after me
How
And we
wonderful.
have the
on the corner that I grew up on.
Wonderful.
We have a little
Crazy.
clip
Let's take a look
of
at that day.
Yeah.
With the leadership of Mr. Dino Robinson from Shorefront Legacy, have been successful in naming this corner after Miss Tina Lifford.
One, two, three.
Tina Lifford Way. Is that crazy? It's crazy.
Doesn't it make you want to cry?
Yeah, you know, it does because Tina Lifford Way, it matches up with, you know, just how mindful I am about how I live my life.
Yeah.
And if, in fact, that little sign, Tina Lifford Way, has people curious
Inspired.
and inspired about
A little girl.
Yeah,
A little girl
what
in
is Tina Lifford Way?
Yeah.
You can make your dreams come true.
Yes,
I
you
always say
can.
never forget where we came from.
Be intentional.
Be intentional.
Yes.
Tina, you were so wonderful. You were beautiful on the inside and on the out, and we just
Thank
love it when
both
you
of
come
you
to
ladies.
visit us. Thank
It's
you,
so
Tina.
nice.
You all be sure to tune in this Sunday night at 8/7 Central for the premiere of Cherished Memories, a gift to remember too, right here on Hallmark Channel.